let's go. As Mr. Hop is in the library, he starts to have these feelings that something is wrong.
Okay. I need to get out of here.
He starts to get out of his sheet and ran up to a random bag and start running towards to his favorite book and grab it. Put the book on the bag and ran out straight to the door and tripped on a stick.
Ugh, really?
He gets up and starts to run, but he found Mr. Mittens.
Mr. Mittens? Hey, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be at your home.
Well, I found a ham portal to there, so I went in.
You're supposed to be in that place, not here.
But why not?
Because I don't want you in danger.
Dee teleported to the florist.
Too late.
She grabbed Mr. Hop's ears and grabbed Mr. Mittens' tail and pulled them into the void, and she went in the void with them, and she lifted her hand up, and two shadow hand emerges with Miss Bow and Mr. Stripes, and Mr. Hop's face was speechless and his face turned sad, and Mr. Mittens was scared.
Your little friends can't stand a chance to be with this void. So, you will not do what the entity said, so you lost.
Mr. Hop had enough.
Why do you do this to them? They did not deserve this. They never did.
Well, I asked that what I need them to do, but they were useless, not helpful.
Mr. Hop was angry and extremely boiling, so Mr. Hop paid down on the floor and went out of his shell toy and showed his real self and talked in his deep voice.
It's time to make you pay.
He ran so fast and went after her.
You're so useless, to the point I can kill you.
The necklace glowed to gold to black, and she was levitating, and black hands grabbed her and soaked through her skin and turned into a shadow. And she jumped high and used the shadow creatures to defend herself. And Shadow Hop ran up to Mr. Mittens and held him, and make a shadow bubbled to protect him so he wouldn't get hurt. So Shadow Hop turned into a giant spider and tear Shadow Dee up. And she saw a glowing circle at the ceiling. She grabbed one of the glowing, so she jumped high, but Shadow Hop hands caught her, and he grabbed the glowing orb and put it on his chest, creating a shining globe heart on his chest. And Shadow Dee turned into the entity and grabbed his head and threw him down and creating a giant shadow hand and stabbed him 3 times, but it didn't work. So he turned back and called the entity by whistling, and he teleported to the void, and he knew what to do. So he created a chains to lock him to the void, and he looked at Mr. Mittens and ran after him and grabbed his hat and his hair striped on his head, flowing. And the entity took him out of his shell toy and emerges a shadow chains to chain him up, as the same with Hop. So what this means is the entity grabbed them both and chained them down so they can't fight.
You both can't be useful at this cost. Don't you think to do, Dee?
Yes, indeed, they are.
What he means is he meant to be useless. Shadow Dee went closer to Hop, and she bends down and grabbed Mr. Hop's cheeks forceful.
You'll never and never will have freedom you want. So too bad.
She got up and started to walk away from him and looked back slowly.
Too sad, but oh well.
They started to make a portal from the human world, where they were, and closed the portal and saw two toys and the entity teleported to D, and looked at her and looked at two toys. He telekinesis the two toys by making them float towards him, emerges a shadow hand, and drenched them into a hatred to hunt the kids, to the ones that has been chosen to be dead by the entity, who rules the underground. Let's make them a happy family to be with. Don't you think, Dee? Dee had a feeling what she put herself into has gotten here. To the angels, do not trust her with peace of mind and love. Dee! I said let's go. Yes, sir. But to Hop and Mr. Mittens saw Miss Bow and Mr. Stripes. Not them. What have I done?
You did nothing wrong. We're in a...
Stop with this kindness. This isn't helping. We ain't getting out of here. If we were just going to sit here and talk about his feelings, just get me out of here to help you guys, to get out of here already. Shut up. What? I said shut up. Okay, dang.
Okay, Mr. Hop, how did this happen?
I don't feel like talking about that just.
Okay, I understand.
Good.
Are we dead? Yes, we're dead until she's kill us.
Shut up. No, because we're stuck here until he will brainwash us. 3 including you, unless someone helped us to get out of here.
Yeah, but we can't. So, no kids that will, so. I'll guess Mr. Stripes is right.
No, he's not. Let's just have a hope, okay?
I will try, but let's just see.
Okay.
To Esther and her friends and Black Lives Matter Orphanage in the United Kingdom, 1952. This is begin after what happened to Esther. Esther and her friends were playing with Molly and Isaac, like usual. Isn't this fun? Much fun, isn't it?
Yeah, this is.
What's wrong, Molly?
I just want to know how you got the necklace from it. It looks pretty good on you.
Esther was scared to tell her how she got the necklace, but they needed to know the truth.
Okay, just sit down. I'll tell you.
Molly sat down to the floor, and Isaac did the same, along with Esther. And Molly and Esther told them about what happened. But Molly thinks that she was crazy, but she did and got dizzy when she got back from the underground. So she was convinced that she ain't crazy. That's how it happened. Probably when you hated me, I guess your attitude was changed, Molly.
Well, I know that, but what if I got a daughter? Should I tell her or not?
I don't think you should. Maybe at the age of 13. Then you should tell her.
Well, all right. Maybe that is a good age for me to tell her. But what happens if all happens to her?
It won't. Just protect her as soon as possible so nothing will happen to her, okay?
Well, I guess, okay.
A matron walked up to the library to see Molly and Isaac and Esther sitting down like they are in the 3rd grade. Okay, guys, go ahead and go upstairs to bed. It's past your bedtime. Yes, ma'am. They got up and walked away from the library and went upstairs to go left and saw the room. They went into the room, went in their beds, and slept. Throughout the days, kids grew up and became adults. Isaac became a weapon maker, where he makes weapons, and Molly, she adopted a kid named Molly, which is me, and Esther became a grandmother to Ruby. And 3 adults that used to be kids have a good life until he came back. Okay, guys, next time.